See, Turley says, thank you both for what you do. You both are fantastic, and Lowell, you might be spot on that Kyle is a high-level loser. Sad but true.
Oy.
Well, we'll see. We shall see this year. Corey Soto says, I think the so-called doghouse is Kyle's biggest fallibility as a head coach. I think it has ruining a few players' development, e.g. Sermon, Pettis, TDP, Mason. I'm sure there are more. Yeah, for whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan just decides you're on the team, but you're not ever going to play. It's weird.
Remember when he put Ayuk in the doghouse?
Yeah. It seems like what he does is he'll put you in the doghouse and not communicate why you're there. All of a sudden, you're just not playing. And you got to go talk to him about it.
Yeah.
That's good. Jeremy Price says, are you in or out on the Niners making the playoffs? No hedging.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get to you, and we'll dedicate the segment to you, Jeremy. Mikey Niner says, Cohn Sr., 1/3 in, please reassess Coach 500. That was a tough one. Third of the season in, please reassess Coach 500. I don't know what the question is, Mikey. Sorry. This may be crazy. Thought it would. This may be crazy. Thought it. Would you make D'Amico head coach to keep him here? That's the question that Jed York needs to answer. It's too early in the season to answer that question, but Jed York needs to be thinking about that. I don't know. The more that Robert Saleh has success, the more you wonder. It's like, geez, if Robert Saleh's good, like maybe D'Amico could do the same that Robert's doing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If D'Amico were made the head coach, I wouldn't make Kyle the offensive coordinator.
No, I don't think so. Josh Oliva says the offense practically scored 7 points because that turnover touchdown cancels out the second touchdown, in my opinion. I agree. D Wood, a net +7. D Wood 7,300 says 1 week Jimmy is no good and the next week Kyle offense is outdated. He can't simplify the game any more than he does. He doesn't have the quarterback. Someone is wide open all the time, but the ball is never delivered.
I won't argue with that. Jimmy certainly doesn't do well on long passes, but he'll always make one or two mistakes a day that'll crush a game, that'll crush a team.
And why is Jimmy Garoppolo on the team? Because Kyle wants him.
I don't know why he's on the team, but he's not the quarterback that they need. They were hoping Trey Lance would be the quarterback that they need, but they never answered the question. Of course,
they used him as a running back.
Yeah, he screwed it up.
Eric says Niners got beat by the same formula they tried using with Lance. If Kyle could call plays and the defense would have stayed healthy, they wouldn't lose. Yeah, that what the Falcons did on offense is what the Niners were going to try to do with Trey Lance, run the ball 40 times a game. And it works. It works.
The Niners made Mariota, who's been a flop in the league, look like what people thought he would be. But he only threw 14 passes.
No, what he was efficient and quite mobile. And what was crazy is anytime he did the zone read, he picked up a first down, it felt like. It's like the Niners defense spent the whole offseason defending those plays with Trey Lance, and they looked unprepared for it in Atlanta. How? D'Amico. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but notice that.
D'Amico.
Tony says, has the common denominator ever, that's Kyle Shanahan's name, the common denominator. Has the common denominator ever had a talented quarterback who he trusts and respects? Maybe Matt Ryan. Rumors were he clashed with Ryan too. Yeah, he clashed with Matt Ryan too. They only worked together for 2 years. I don't know if they could have done a third year. Kyle's an expert, and it seems like I don't know. He's always sort of clashed with his quarterbacks. I don't know. Good question. One more. Disregarding the Carolina game, Kyle has scored 13 points in the second half of games this season. 13 points. Disregarding that one game. Total. That's a problem with the scheme. There's too much talent. Remember, this happened with Chip Kelly. They couldn't score in the second half. But he didn't have talent, and the whole offense was smoke and mirrors. The Niners have talent, but their offense is still smoke and mirrors.
I want to tell you with Chip Kelly, and Iggy, you'll remember this, he sometimes would be up at the half, and in the press box, people would say, how's he going to lose at this half?
Oh, yeah.
He always did.
Always did.
I got to tell you, this is a real criticism of Kyle to be compared to Chip Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
An NFL buffoon. He may be good at your UCLA bunch, but he's an NFL. Is he doing well this? I don't know.
He is. We're undefeated.
Okay, so he's a good college coach, but he's an NFL buffoon.
No, it's important to bring him up, though, because Kyle's offense is so bad this year, it's at the Chip Kelly, Jim Tom Sula level. Yes. That's where he is.
Yeah.
D. Wood says everything.
To wise up.
It's time. And the only reason he isn't getting criticism is because you keep asking that. Why aren't people I don't know. It was open season on Jim Tom Sula. It was easy to make fun of Jim Tom Sula, easy to make fun of Chip Kelly, but Kyle Shanahan, we take him seriously. Why? Has he ever won anything?
The local media is still extremely – I feel like apologists for him.
Yeah, like, for example, Tim Kawakami. whenever Tim's very good. Whenever someone brings up like any criticism of Kyle Shanahan on Twitter, he always says, "Oh, so you want to go back to Jim Tom Sula? Is that the only option? Is that really what about D'Amico? I think D'Amico's a good option. What about Sean Payton? I mean, there are options other than Jim Tom Sula, Chip Kelly. I think that's a false equivalence. Just saying." Emmanuel Silveris says, "Just want to say I love your content with your dad. It's the highlight of my week. Keep up the great work." Thank you. Everything is Kyle's fault when it comes to Kyle. Your horns are showing. Shaking my head. Well, he's the head coach. Who do you want to blame? Someone beneath the head coach? D. Turley says the rationale for the long drive was to keep Atlanta off the field. What? Keep Atlanta off the field? What are you talking about? Brendel had 3 penalties that drive, and they had over 100 yards in that drive. Brendel was absolutely awful. So the idea was to get the ball back down 7 with a minute left and no timeouts. Because the Niners offense is great in that situation, right? They can't come back with 15 minutes in the fourth quarter down 7. But with 1 minute and no timeouts, we saw them try to do it. They didn't come close. C. Turley. Thank you. Timothy Glander says, K ran out time to not lose by bigger score. Genius. That's what it felt like to me. That was weak. Jersey 6 says his banana hands trying to get the boot. Thank you, Iggy. I don't think he's trying to get the boot. That gives him too much credit. Like he could be better, but he's sandbagging it. No, he's getting figured out.
He's doing the best he can.
He's doing the best he can. That's the problem. Quan DeGoat says it's beyond me how Kyle's a trash OC and head coach, but the media says zip when it's on display. But the moment we win, he's a genius. Give me a break. Fire Kyle Shanahan. Man's a silver spoon-fed son with a label last name. Thumbs down. I like how he capitalized every word. He meant that shit. I loved it. Good shot. Good stuff, Quan. That was great. You are the GOAT. Callie Tremor says, you two make a great duo. I'd love to hear you both on other topics outside the Niners. Cohn on Conversation podcast.
That's
sure.
Nice. You should hear us talking about movies. We love to talk about movies, but Iggy's always ahead of me since the age of about 9.
Your dad, the Tej PO5 says your dad tweeted on Sunday that the Niners should have used Trey as the Falcons used Mariota, and he was spot on. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, the Falcons ran Mariota, but they didn't throw him between the tackles. I mean, he was always protected. He was always running out of bounds for 10 yards.
Yeah.
Yep. Corey Soto says top priority moving forward is finding the coach that can develop Trey, period. This was a huge investment, and he has infinite potential. And what's so sad is it feels like Kyle wasted the first 2 years of Trey's potential development. Wasted it.
Do I agree with that?
Yeah. Ingar says, thank you both. Greetings from Norwegian Cones fans. Norway.
Wow.
Norway, thank you. I hate yogurt, says here's $5. I like yogurt. Give it a chance.
I had yogurt this morning.
So did I.
Had yogurt this morning.
It's really good. Stingray88HH5 says we need Jalen Hurd. I hear he's available. Yeah, give him a call. Joshua Levis says a lot of buzz about big players possibly returning for KC. What's your take, Grant? My take is that the Niners have a pattern of bringing guys back a little too early, and I'm worried that they're going to do that this week. This is not a must-win game. Not a must-win game. It's week 7. They were 3-5 last year.
Well, Iggy, let's talk about it a minute.
Sure.
Who could they bring back?
Nick Bosa.
Well,
Travarius Ward. 2 guys with groin injuries.
Okay. It's impossible to say whether or not they should bring him back because you don't know how serious it is.
Don't know.
But those are 2 really significant contributors.
Yes.
What about Jimmy Ward? Could he play?
No, not yet. No.
Armstead.
Maybe. Haven't heard it. But those 2, it seems like the Niners are hoping Bosa and Ward can go. We'll see.
Okay.
Because they were very cautious last week. They held these guys out, and they lost. So maybe they feel like, I don't know. We'll have to see. Mikey Niner says, Bourne said New England trained much harder than the Niners. I can see it. I'm telling you, the Niners training camp is really light compared to what I'm used to. Crow says, Grant, serious question. Did the Niners stretch on the field before, during the game, Lowell? What are some of the things that the teams of old would do to keep players healthy? Can you 2 compare the differences are? Yeah, they stretch.
There is no question they stretch. And Iggy, you can attest to this. When you're not allowed to watch full practices, but you're only allowed to watch the warm-ups during the week, they stretch. Yeah. There's no right. Mm-hmm. They do. They stretch. I think Iggy's point is right. You know, I remember training camps. They were whacking the crap out of each other, and Harbaugh too. They're not preparing for the ballet. No, they're preparing for a collision sport.
That's why they used to have 2-a-days in the offseason and 6 preseason games. Now it's 90 minutes and 3 preseason games that the starters don't play in. There's a effect. Ryan says, name one current or former 49er that has said anything other than positive things about Shanahan's offense and playing for him. Don't overreact.
I don't know what they say one way or another. I don't follow that. So, can you give me examples of people who praise his offense? I don't know.
Richard Sherman praises it a lot.
Did he play offense?
No.
As I recall, he didn't play offense.
So as long as players keep praising his offense, then he gets saying it doesn't matter like what his offense produces. What matters is what people say about it.
Yeah, it's so well. What's more important is messaging as opposed to the record.
Reviews, not production. Okay. True Boxing King says, I have a feeling Ayuk got targeted a lot to raise his trade value before the deadline. Kyle might offer him up with something else for CMC. If they do that, if they trade Brandon Ayuk for an injury-prone running back past his prime, fire him on the spot. They better not do that. I think they just gave him the ball because he's really good.
They're not going to get rid of Ayuk. It's not going to happen.
That would be stupid. We got more. Bear with me. Okay, here we got a few. Jeremy Price. 2 years ago, you laughed when I said Kyle was jealous of Jimmy for his leadership holding the team. I did? Well, you were right. I take the laugh back. Robert Zala says, if you were Jed York and you weigh the pros and cons of Kyle this year, would be a fireable offense. Jeez. It's early, though.
At it for a moment. I would be shocked if they were to fire Kyle after this season. I would be shocked. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if they fire him after the next season. If, he's mediocre.
That's true.
Yeah.
C. Turley says, you missed my point. I'm not saying I agreed with the rationale. What I'm saying is they don't have a sense of urgency. They didn't have a sense of urgency, and Brendel was bad. Yes, Brendel was bad. And they didn't have a sense of urgency, and I don't know why. To me, their offense doesn't work with that level of tempo and urgency. It's all about being slow, their offense. Slow and putting people in motion. I want Harbaugh back, says Jaskell. I don't think he's coming back, man.
No, I think he's happy in college, but they never should have got rid of him.
Ramon Clark says, hey, Grant and Lowell, thanks for the content. Just want to say I'm tired of hearing about how mad the Chiefs are after losing and how they'll approach this week when the Niners should be just as pissed. Yeah, both teams coming off losses.
Hold on. That's a great comment. I want to talk about this. People are going to talk, the Chiefs, they're going to be really pissed and they're going to try extra hard because they got beat. I got to tell you, baloney. They try extra hard every week.
That's right.
If they had more to give last week, they would have given it.
Yep. Yeah, there's 17 games. You can't take one off. Right. Glass half full guy says, why isn't Mason getting some run? It's very strange, Dad. This undrafted free agent rookie made the team, was so impressive in preseason that they cut their third-round pick last year to keep him on the team. They gave him 1 carry so far this year. He gained 7 yards, and they will not play him on offense. Why is he even here?
Iggy, does anyone ask Kyle that in news conferences?
We've asked him. We've asked his run game coordinator, and they say, he's working. He's doing great. We want to get him the ball. We'll see.
So, in other words, they're not telling you.
Yeah, they're not telling you.
Obviously, you don't believe in them yet.
My interpretation is that Kyle Shanahan doesn't do a great job of playing his best players. What he wants to do is play the guys who know his system the best. Hence, Tevin Coleman being on the field.
I love it. I think you're right.
And that's a problem. You play the best players, not the people who know your system. Your system isn't even that good.
In the fourth quarter.
Danny Muzzy says, as a third-generation farmer from the Bay Area, I was taught at a young age to take responsibility for your actions and decisions and not point fingers. Kyle makes excuses in his 40s. We deserve this. Ooh. Kyle and Jimmy both make excuses. Both don't learn from their mistakes. They are so made for each other.
Right. They don't probably like each other, but they're made for each other.
They deserve each other. Kel's Chronicle says, one of the best shows right here. Lowell, do you know Dave Baronio or George Ralph Giannini? Ralph is my grandfather, just curious.
I don't, but please say hello to them for me.
Yeah, how would my dad know him? Where would they have crossed paths? Maybe you'll ring a bell. Crow says, should Kyle stop giving injury return expectation lengths? Boss saying you must come back within time frame versus Belichick ready when ready approach. Should Kyle stop giving injury return expectation lengths? Yes, Harbaugh never did that. So when Kyle says, we're really hoping to have him back this week, that feels like he's putting pressure on the player to play, right?
I see what you're saying. And Harbaugh would not do that.
If you ask him injury stuff, he'd say, I'm not in his body. Can't ask me. I can't talk. I don't know when he's going to be back. That's a question for him. I'm not in his body. You remember he used to say that all the time.
You're right.
I don't know. Player-friendly coach. Also, you saw that Talanoa Hufanga got a head injury, got tested on the sidelines. They cleared him, went back, played the whole game at strong safety. They tested him yesterday, and they're like, actually, he had a concussion.
Okay, here's what I want to say about that. I'm not blaming anybody. He passed the protocol. What I want to do is praise them for testing him again.
Agree. But it just shows you that whatever that protocol is on the sideline doesn't seem that it doesn't seem that foolproof. Whatever the league has set up. What the hell is that?
And Iggy, the league has said that. And the
exactly.
League, they want to adjust it after this season.
They got to.
I'm not pointing any fingers. I think
I'm not saying, but something bad could have happened to Talanoa Hufanga. They got to fix this. It's terrible.
And they are going to.
They better. Yeah. Jay says it's hard to imagine a good offensive coach doing worse than Kyle has with this offense. Jesse's stats he posted was crazy. What's the solution? Well, Kyle has to do better. And if he doesn't, then they'll find someone else who will. That's the solution. Voice ad agency says, Mr. Lowell, I do like how you protect the trainers. As Niner fans, we have seen this far too long and never saw it in the Harbaugh era. I think it's fair to question for fans and more fair for players.
Well, I do, and that's why I brought up what my
Gary
Furness.
It's a question for him, not for us. But it's fair for us to ask the question.
To address the topic.
Yes.
But it's very hard for us to have an opinion one way or the other because we're not trainers. We don't write about trainers. We write about football.
All we can judge is the results, but we don't know why the results aren't there. As your friend pointed out, it could be a bad program or it could be people aren't following the program. You just don't know.
Very clear when he said that to me.
Niners daddy says Cohn's Niners coverage goats keep exposing Kyle and Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, for all we know, the trainers could be like, "Hey man, don't play this guy this week," and Kyle's like, "Thanks for your opinion. You're playing." We have no idea.
We have no idea, so we can't really have an opinion.
Right. See, Turley says Eddie D would have fired Kyle by now. He's 42 and 45. How is that acceptable? Injuries or not, that's ridiculous. Harbaugh got fired for less.
I want to tell you, George Seifert got fired.
He had 2 championships.
Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
I agree. Eddie would have lost patience with him a long time ago, and he would have lost patience with all of these injuries, and he wouldn't have listened to excuses. I know Eddie well enough for that.
And again, Jed lost patience with Harbaugh. Why is he so patient with Kyle? Well, he was embarrassed by the Jim Tom Sula, Chip Kelly experience. And this whole Kyle experience has at least people nationally say Jed's doing a good job. He got Kyle Shanahan. It gives him credibility. And it's probably scary to go back and try to find another coach for him.
Iggy, he got rid of Harbaugh. Harbaugh went 8-8 that season.
Yeah.
Right.
That was his biggest offense.
He went 8. Well, no, his biggest offense was he probably didn't respect Jed wanted him to.
Right. Of course. Emilio says, love the show. What happened to Mondays with Vish? I don't know. I talked to Vish recently. We'll see. Ray-Ban says, Niners have to stop the pass and establish a running game in the offense. Kyle Lowell, you are a living legend. Love hearing your input.
Thank you so much.
Kyle Green says, what do you think about trying to get Antonio Gibson? I think it'll be cheap and Kyle would get him to play like he had potential. Is Antonio Gibson the running back for Washington? Let me make sure. Yes. I think they should just give Jordan Mason a shot before they trade for a running back. Give the running back that you put on your team a shot. He has 1 carry for 7 yards. It worked out well so far. Matthew says the sign of a good coach is that she elevates those in their charge and maximizes their individual chances of success. Does that sound like Kyle? No, what he's doing is the opposite this year, and that's why it's so amazing. He has Debo and Ayuk and can't figure out how to score in the second half. That's amazing. That's too smart for me to understand. That's a different level of genius. Whoa. BP says Kyle Shanahan is the problem. He is conservative, yet the Niners are second to last in turnovers in his 6 years. 149, 0-24, went down by 7, 19 points in the second half all year. It's unacceptable. I think fans are starting to realize it. This is a bad week for Kyle Shanahan. He's going to need to beating the Chiefs would help. That would kind of change things, huh?
Oh, well, listen, Iggy, may I say something before you do the next comment?
Yes.
If he beats the Chiefs, they're a Super Bowl contender. Iggy,
exactly.
Exactly. All over the internet.
Yeah.
They stumbled. It was a trap game.
They
stumbled, but now they're a Super Bowl contender if they beat the Chiefs. Absolutely.
Yeah. Josh Wyatt says, watching ATL, I remembered what it looked like when an O-line gets a consistent push. Everything starts there. The Niners have the worst NFL O-line. It's terrible, Dad. Without Trent Williams, I mean, they have a bunch of guys who aren't starters. A bunch of backups on the field, the Niners offensive line.
All of them?
Jalen Moore, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel. Maybe Aaron Banks is a starter, but Jake Brendel backup. Jalen Moore backup. Spencer Burford backup. Blake Hance backup. Mike McGlinchey, not great and hurt. Yeah, I agree. And he's not good when he's healthy. Gold-blooded says, pertaining to the run game, who's more of a problem, Anthony Lynn or Banana Hands? I don't know, but they don't have the solutions right now.
But
I don't know.
Also, they brought back the running game coordinator.
Chris Forster.
No, they brought back that coach a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Bobby Turner.
Yeah.
Bobby Turner. Yeah.
So
Flav says they got coaches. They've been there a long time. Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit for all the talent being here and has been more successful than all but 3 coaches over the past 3 years. Need a top 5 coach lined up before even thinking about getting rid of Kyle. He's had a lot of success because of his defenses.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not saying they should get rid of him. We're just criticizing what he's doing now.
Yep. Mikey 49 says we need Air Coryell antidote to this Gibbs O. Or just the West Coast offense. You know, the next evolution of it. Hope Kyle stays for another 6 years. God bless him, says the resident Rams fan on the channel.
Oh, like God love you.